ultra film star. We're diving into another film star, guys. Are you ready?
We had so much fun with Mr. Schwarzenegger that we had to hit it again.
That's right. In this episode, we're going to talk about Sylvester Stallone. Sly Stallone.
They're right.
All right, guys, let's get into it.
Welcome to V3Cast.
What's happening, everybody? This is V3Cast, episode 37. 37 of them, guys. What do you know about that?
That's awesome. We keep moving.
That's right.
It seems like a lot.
It is a
Seems
lot.
like a lot.
You know what? We're excited. We got a lot of things happening. Coming up later on, we're going to talk about Killer Cabbage on vinyl. We're going to talk about our time with the Cybertronic Spree, playing some shows. But first, we're going to return to one of our favorite actors of the last 40 years, maybe even more, Sylvester Stallone. Born July 6, 1946 in New York City, in Hell's Kitchen to be exact. We're going to talk about one pick of ours, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger, one pick of ours of one of our favorite films of his. And you know, he's an actor and a director and
That's
a producer.
right. And a writer.
Yeah, absolutely. A jack of all trades, man, for sure. Hey, Greg, what's your pick?
All right. Well, I have a very strong opinion about Sylvester Stallone movies.
All right.
So I'm going to have to say my pick is Rhinestone.
Sure.
And I'm prepared to defend that.
To the death.
I'm not even giving that any credibility.
I guarantee neither one of the three of us has seen Rhinestone.
No, I've never seen that.
I've seen Rhinestone.
You have? Oh, wow.
What makes you think I'm joking?
I know you're joking. I can believe
right.
you've seen it. I'll give you that. You probably saw it when you were 7 years old.
I have seen it. Dolly Parton's in it.
Oh, I didn't know that. That changes everything.
Yep.
Yeah. See, now you're interested.
Yeah. Now we got
Anyhow.
you thinking. All right, go ahead.
All right. So if I'm only picking one, which is very tough to do.
Yeah.
And I will die on this hill. Rocky IV is the best Rocky movie, and it's also the best Sylvester Stallone movie.
Oh, man.
Bold statement.
And,
Bold. So bold.
and I am prepared to defend this.
So
And Rhinestone is a close second.
we skip Rocky 1,
Yeah,
which is
you skipped
clearly
the entire first trilogy.
one of
Get
the
rid of
best
it.
movies ever made
don't need
by
it.
anybody.
No, you don't need it.
We go, and it's quantifiably the best. I mean, it won, an Academy Award and everything. And we go right to Rocky 4. We don't even go to Rocky 2, which is one of the best sequels in the world.
Listen,
in history.
you
going
can
right
take
to
the
part
first
4.
three movies and set them on fire.
Oh my God.
Rocky IV is the best Rocky movie. It
Okay.
is.
All right.
It just is.
Then why is that?
There's a lot of reasons.
Is
All
it
right, so
just because of Vince DiCola?
no. Well, I mean,
help.
that's a good reason.
Okay.
So yeah, the music's awesome. The whole Russia versus the US spin on it is awesome.
Yeah.
Sylvester Stallone is awesome.
Yeah.
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 Creed. Has everybody seen the movie? Am I going to spoil anything?
No, we're not worried about spoiling 40-year-old movies.
Right.
Okay.
That's
Apollo
the new
Creed
rule.
gets killed and he has to avenge his death. I mean,
That's
it
pretty
has
powerful.
so many. It has so much going on. I argued with my uncle about this relentlessly, and he wanted to disown me because
What was his
his
pick? The first one?
Well, he said the exact same things that Aaron is saying. Arguably one of the best movies ever made. Blah blah blah, and I'm like, yeah, but he wasn't fighting a Russian. And how? Not only that, but how about when like Dolph Lundgren is using steroids and he's in the state of the art gym, and then Rocky's out there on the mountain just like lifting rocks, and like he's in a barn
And tree
doing
stumps.
sit-ups. I mean,
That's powerful. Powerful.
It's so good. It's so good. I mean, it's not as good as Rhinestone, but it's close.
Greg,
it's as
you know
close
what,
as
man?
you can get.
You got me. Yeah, I'm sold now. I'm in Greg's camp. Rocky IV.
No.
Rocky IV.
See?
Rocky IV is like the distillation.
Listen, stop.
Let's take everything that people like go crazy for in these movies, get rid of most of the story and just have all those greatest hits of
Right.
Rocky, like the
Yep.
montage. There's like 2
Yep.
montages in this
Yeah.
one, right?
Yeah.
And-
The more the merrier.
Hey, you know what? Do you know where else that theory works, Aaron? Because you're onto something. You know where
What?
else that works? Oops, all
Where?
berries. Oops, all berries.
Yeah, you
Captain
know,
Crunch.
Rocky 4 is the oops all berries.
Yeah, it's all berries.
They're like, we don't need much story,
Right.
if any.
You don't need much
Just
crunch.
skip right
Just
to
the
the
berries.
What do you mean?
montages.
How can you say there's no story?
There's like a couple
Apollo
of
Creed
events
got
in the
killed.
movies. There's like events, but there's no story.
Oh, gosh, you're
The
so
first-
wrong.
The
Huh?
first movie is all story, all character, all just
Boring.
You just oh no.
It's all
just-
boring.
Your heart is bursting for these characters, for Rocky and Adrian, and it's simple. And it's not simple, but it's down to earth, right? And everything. But no, I'm not gonna argue. I mean, it's your pick, so I'm just busting your balls a little bit. But yeah, Rocky 4, especially when I was a kid, I loved it. I loved it because
So you're saying it's for children.
it's so poppy.
Is that what you're saying?
it's
it's for
like
children?
It's like the pop version of Rocky.
Dude,
Like the first 1 and 2 are like the classic rock version, and then Rocky 4 is pop.
I strongly disagree.
But no, I love the movie too, man. I love them all.
I'm going to
except
tell you
for
what.
part 5.
Here's how I know it's better than the first 3.
Oh God.
Because because they play them on TV a lot, right?
Yeah.
If Rocky 1 is on, I don't feel obligated to watch it.
It's too heavy.
Same with 2, same with 3. But if Rocky 4 is on, I'll just leave it on.
Yeah.
It's just like Back to the Future for me. It's the best.
Greg will not cut the grass that afternoon. He won't put the garbage out on the curb. He'll be watching.
Exactly.
Before. I get you.
He's like holding the towel. He's about to throw it. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I can't turn it off. It's great.
All right.
Right on.
It is a great movie.
You'll see the light one day, Aaron.
I mean, I already like the movie.
No, you don't.
Now,
I
I
have to
even
like
say
it.
I love
Greg
it.
thinks you hate it.
Rocky 4. I'm sticking to it.
Yeah.
I'm not backing
okay.
down.
That's
I will
cool.
not back down.
There's no reason you should back down.
Remember what Greg said initially? He says he's willing to die on that hill. So
Yeah.
Yep.
that's cool, man.
Well, I mean, you guys didn't accept my first movie, Rhinestone.
No,
You
I
didn't
don't
accept
accept
that
it.
choice.
Never. But you've been very consistent about Rocky 4 through the years, and it does have excellent music. All those movies. I mean, we're not talking about part 5, of course. When we're talking about the Rocky movies, we're not talking about part 5. I'll take the first 4, and then I'll skip to Rocky Balboa, which was also great.
Yeah.
But they all have great music for sure. And the Vince DiCola, did Vince DiCola do any other ones or just part
No.
4? Yeah.
I
Just
think
part
that's part
4.
four.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, what's that beverage you got over there? Look like a darker ale. What you got?
Oh, it's a 3 Floyds, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
It's a limited. So this is Gumballhead.
Oh, Gumball.
I think it's blood orange lemon.
Oh my.
Sounds like a good summertime beer. So you're holding on to summer.
Yeah, it almost tastes like a sour, honestly. It's pretty
Nice.
it's pretty sour. This is one of my favorites of theirs now. But you can
Nice.
only get it in the Gumballhead variety pack.
I didn't know there were varieties of Gumballhead. I just know the first one. What are the other?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it comes with a Gumballhead double IPA.
Mhm.
It comes with a Gumballhead hazy IPA,
Mm.
and it comes with a Gumballhead West Coast IPA, along with the blood orange lemon IPA.
Excellent.
I think this is an IPA. Gotta be, right?
Well,
Blood
if it-
orange
I thought-
one sounds the coolest. to me.
It says blood orange and lemon pale ale. So there you go.
There you go. I'll have to look for it.
But I wouldn't say it's too dark. It's just probably the lighting.
Yeah, it was a shadow.
It's like a hazy IPA color, you know?
Yep.
Nice.
Very sour. It's great.
Nice.
It is a good summer beer.
I can do mine next.
All
That's
right.
all good. I actually had trouble picking, I'll be honest. I'll tell you why. Is because there's the real obvious ones. And then after that, it kind of be any because they're all awesome. I mean, he's done very few ones where I'd be like, nobody has 100%
Right.
catalog of fantastic films. So I had to look up and down the list quite a few times.
I think we'd agree, just like Schwarzenegger, his strongest stuff was in the 80s, right? Or the late 70s into the 80s. And the ones that are not quite as good are the 90s ones, right? But
yeah, well, a lot of that action stuff, which is partially the reason for this pick that I'm about to say, part of the action genre, they kind of lost their steam in the 90s overall. There's a few exceptions. So what you're saying, I totally agree with, which is why I picked The Expendables. Because in my opinion,
sweet,
they successfully brought that back.
Yeah.
I remember, believe it or not, I've only seen it once at the theater. I was with you, Aaron. I can't remember if Greg was there or not, but we saw it in the theater, and I was like, cool. It brought that back, and it had been away, that kind of film had been away long enough to where it was refreshing again. And then plus they also updated it and kind of modernized it a bit, pushed it harder. And of course, with technology, you can do more crazy stuff that you really kind of couldn't do in the 80s safely anyway. So yeah, The Expendables. The cast is ridiculous. Okay, so obviously it was directed and starring Sylvester Stallone. You got Jason Statham, Jet Li, Stone Cold Steve Austin, right? You got Dolph Lundgren, Terry Crews. Man, I love me some Terry Crews. Every role he's ever been in, funny or not, I love him. I love him. Mickey Rourke, and because he was brought back into the limelight after The Wrestler, right? So The Wrestler was before Expendables, I believe.
Yeah.
So he was kind of like a thing again. So they got him in there. Bruce Willis. I mean, it's a who's who, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's right. Speaking of Arnold Schwarzenegger. So yeah, it's really cool. Now I haven't seen all of them. I think I've seen the first 3, and they're all good to me. Yeah. I enjoyed them a lot. So, and that was a big blockbuster movie that cost $82 million to make. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they were nervous because there was no guarantee people would kind of latch on to that, per se.
Right.
But
it's part of why they stacked the cast so much,
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Here's a fun little tidbit that I found. Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to be in the first one. So it says he was personally offered a role by Stallone, but turned it down because he felt there was no substance or development to the character. Stallone said that Van Damme told him that he should be trying to save people in South Central. But then, fast forward, at the premiere, it said that Stallone was on the phone with Van Damme. Stallone said, "I told you," and Van Damme concurred and expressed his regret over not participating. But then, of course, he was the villain in the sequel.
Yeah, so that's great.
That's
he was a doubter, man. But it's cool. Yeah. That's one of the cool things about Stallone is like, from every interview I've read with him and stuff, or watched with him, he doesn't seem to get hung up on that stuff. So like when Van Damme came back to him, he's like, all right, let's make it happen, instead of being petty about it.
Right.
Seems like a really humble guy, real self-effacing, self-deprecating kind of guy. Like he's a real talented guy, and he didn't get that kind of credit for a lot of his career, even though he established himself right from the beginning pretty much as a writer, with writing Rocky. I mean, there's talent there, and obviously his performance is great, but he, a lot of people underestimated his acting ability and pigeonholed him into Rocky type roles and stuff, and didn't understand that he's actually an intelligent guy. And so, yeah, it's that scene he created with the Expendables. I mean, to do that for, 4 movies and get all these old school people together and give them some bread and butter roles, to like have some fun with it again.
Yeah.
and resurrect that pretty much whole genre. Not that it hadn't been done. It had been done, but not with those people really on that scale for a while.
Not with all those basically goats of
Mhm.
of the genre, and he put an exclamation mark on it for sure.
Right, he did. Yeah, that's a good pick because
You guys ready for a confession?
What's that?
Go ahead.
I haven't seen a single Expendables movie.
They're fun.
They're very cool, man.
I mean,
I haven't seen one of them.
Not any of it.
Not any. Not any.
He had such a great comeback in the early-ish 2000s. You know, when he came back to Rocky, came back to Rambo, came back to started the Expendables and other stuff like that. It was really cool to see because he's been doing it so long, and he's had his ups and downs, of course, and his dry spells in his career. But like he's been riding high for quite a while now. Like Tulsa King is a really cool show. That first season was excellent, and the second season just started, and I got to watch that too. So it's really cool to see him, keeping himself fresh.
Absolutely. It's funny that you mentioned that because I have a little tidbit that I can tell you that's directly related to what you just said. Is that besides Harrison Ford, he is the only actor to star in #1 films over 6 decades. Only Harrison Ford's done that besides him. So come on.
I know. That's insane.
You can't get that by luck or favors or whatever you want to say if you don't think that's true or whatever. You have to earn that straight up.
Yeah. Got to have the goods.
Yep.
Got to have something people want to see.
That's right.
What are you drinking, Steve?
Oh, man. Are you ready for this one?
Yes.
I brought back a classic. Monster Ultra Red.
Nice.
You can only get this bad boy at 7-Eleven. I don't know why. I don't know what special deal they set up. Let's see if we can hear the crack. I don't know if that came through or not, but it was loud over here.
It never does for you.
Hey, what is the flavor on that, Steve?
It's kind of like Hawaiian Punch meets cherry Kool-Aid meets Red Pop. It's great. I'm telling you. If next time you're at a 7-Eleven, just grab one. I totally recommend it.
Is that a sugar-free one?
It's 10 calories, so almost.
Okay, so it is.
It's real low. It's not like a totally normal one where it has like 150 or whatever it is per can. So yeah, nice. It's probably my favorite one. White is good too, and so is peach. But
we know, Steve. We know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We know the white monster is good. We've established that.
Right. Hey, change the record. All right, Aaron, lay it on us. What's your Stallone pick?
All right.
Can we guess it? Let's do something different. Let's see if we can guess what Aaron's is.
I'm going to guess that Aaron was mad earlier because it is Rhinestone, and he's like,
he stole my pick.
Steve, he didn't tell you, right?
No, he didn't, but I know what it is because it's Aaron, and I've known him my whole life, so I know what he's picking. I know it.
All right, let's see. Well, maybe we should let's write it down on a piece of paper, and then after he says it, we'll hold it up and see if we got it right.
Fair enough.
Hang on. This is a fun exercise for us.
Okay. All right.
I got to look at the whole thing here. So it's not Rhinestone. I'm going to cross that one off.
Well, we can cross that.
Cross that one right off. Now let me look through the list here. What do we got? Oh, I know what it is. Writing it down. Found it. Here it is. Writing it down in big letters so the audience can read it.
The folks out in TV land can.
And I'll make sure to say it too, so in case you're listening to the podcast, you'll know what my answer.
That's true.
All right, so
okay, drum roll, please, Aaron. Your pick is.
My pick is fairly predictable for me. Sure, First Blood, 1982.
Oh, I was wrong. Were you right, Steve?
Yes. Can you see it on the thing? Rambo.
There you go.
Rambo is not First Blood.
Well,
though.
I know what he meant.
That's what I meant. The first movie, the first one.
No, you meant part 2.
Not part 2.
Where
he's kicking ass in the jungle?
What did you write, Greg? Judge Dredd.
Dredd.
Oh, okay. You know what? that pick makes sense because Aaron is the comic book guru,
Right.
so that totally does make sense. That's not that outlandish.
That's
by the way.
not crazy.
Outlandish, right?
That's not crazy.
Mm-mm.
I love First Blood. I remember a friend telling me about the movie when I was young and I hadn't seen it. And he pretty much described the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God, I got to see that. It's one of my favorite movies in general. Directed by Ted Kotcheff, who also did Uncommon Valor. Didn't do too much other notable stuff. I mean, Weekend at Bernie's, I'm not a huge fan of or whatever,
Dude,
but he did
what?
that.
Everybody
that
loves
movie.
Everybody
It's-
What the
loves
hell is
Weekend at
wrong?
Bernie's.
See, this is what's wrong with Aaron.
Here's how I read. You got like First Blood, you got Uncommon Valor, and then down in the sewer, you got Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh man!
Oh my gosh, you're so wrong.
That movie is hilarious.
What's wrong with you?
Back in the day on HBO, so many times I lost count.
Yeah. It's a classic, all right.
Aaron doesn't love happiness. He just doesn't love it.
No, look at my pick. No, I don't like happy movies too much. Not too often. Every once in a while. My dad was a Vietnam vet, and so I've always had a deeper interest in Vietnam and the idea of a soldier being over there and being asked to do all these things for his country and for his brothers in arms, and trying to survive in an environment like that and thriving in it as a warrior. And also going through all kinds of PTSD and going through all kinds of torture and all the horrible things that happen in Vietnam to so many people, right? And then he comes over back to his own country and is treated like a piece of shit. That was the whole crux of the whole problem with that war and how the veterans were treated afterwards. And so that movie, speaks to me and a lot of people. This guy who's just out there. I mean, he starts off with him going to visit his friend, right? He probably hasn't seen him since the war. He goes and looks him up and finds his house. Who knows how far he traveled to get there? And the guy's mother tells John Rambo that he died of cancer that was caused by Agent Orange over in Vietnam. Yeah. So he in the beginning of the movie, he's doing as well as he can be for a guy who's been through what he's been through. He's optimistic. He wants to see his old buddy. And he finds out he's dead. So he in that mood, he starts getting harassed by a cop, Brian Dennehy, and things just escalate and get worse and worse from there. And they end up starting a war with him that he very much handles and fucks their shit up. So Richard Crenna is great in it. We kind of like make fun of his line delivery a lot, where he's so stiff, but it's also awesome the way he did it. And I found out that he learned his lines like on the plane ride to the set, because he was a last minute replacement for Kirk Douglas, who was going to get top billing over Sylvester Stallone. But Kirk Douglas left the movie because they had changed the ending from Rambo getting killed at the end by Troutman, Kirk Douglas's character. He was going to get killed at the end, and they changed it to him living. And Kirk Douglas was like, nope, that's not what I signed up for. So he left. Richard Crenna came in, and then that also made Stallone get top billing. Based on the book from 1972 by David Morrell, which I also read, and the book is super bleak. Like the original ending of the movie was bleak. The book is very bleak. For me, it doesn't matter whether he lives or dies at the end. It's what he goes through, and that speech he makes at the end when he's in the police station and he talks about what he went through over there and how he's treated over here. Once he gives that speech, to me, that's the climax of the movie. Yeah, there's all the violence and everything. There's all the fighting. But that's the hype. That's the point of the whole movie, right? So if the ending were to be him dying or killing himself, like they experimented with, they shot that scene, or if he walks out in handcuffs, it doesn't matter to me, because that's just like the come down from
right.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite movies. The soundtrack is by Jerry Goldsmith, and
Greg knew that, didn't you, Greg?
Greg had to know
yes,
that.
I know that. Of course I know that.
And we also love
my guy.
We love the It's a Long Road by Dan Hill. that
Yeah,
really
it's a good
super
one.
sappy, cheesy song that's
Yeah.
begins and ends the movie. And like, I remember thinking, well, this guy was really trying to sound like Bruce Springsteen. I don't know if that was what his conscious decision was, but it sounds like it.
That always reminded me of the song from the Hulk, the Incredible
Yeah,
Hulk.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was going for that same vibe,
That
the lonely road,
lonely road, sad.
Bruce Banner like hitchhiking,
Yeah. And that movie, that song is part of the proud tradition of a credit song, whether opening or ending credits, saying, let's see here, what should the lyrics be? I know. We'll just describe everything that happens in the movie, and that will be the credits. And it happens a lot, especially in the 80s and stuff. And if anybody who listens to this band might have noticed in New York Ninja and in Killer Cabbage, we very much intentionally followed that formula.
Yes.
When I wrote the lyrics for those songs, I was like, all right, it's time to sum up the movie right here.
Hey,
And let everybody know.
That's what you're supposed to do. That's
Right.
because it works. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So that's my pick, First Blood.
Aaron, what are you drinking over there?
Oh, this is one of my favorites, Warsteiner.
Oh, I think you've had that one before, right? It looks familiar.
Probably. I don't get it as often as I'd like because not every store has it. But it's a great German beer.
All right.
And it's great. I love it.
Well, it's almost October, so you're bringing in the Oktoberfest vibes now, right?
Exactly.
All right. All right. See how we do this?
Yeah, at least it's not a pumpkin spice beer of any kind.
That won't be.
We know
my
he
gullet.
won't like that.
They don't make a pumpkin spice beer, do they?
Of course.
Sure they do.
Oh,
Sure
of course.
they do.
wow. Okay.
Dude,
First of
pumpkin
all,
beers are a big deal. I think that sort of started the whole thing.
you got pumpkin, which invades every genre. Pumpkin is everywhere. And then you got beer that always wants to add some other new crazy flavor into it. So there's like probably 40 pumpkin beers.
Oh my goodness.
They're good too. Don't let Aaron's, he's on a real thing tonight. He's the enemy of happiness. So don't let Aaron rain on pumpkin beers. There's a lot of good ones.
Oh my goodness. That's right. No raining today. No raining.
No. I've done enough raining.
I'm gonna get Aaron a pumpkin beer and he's gonna like it.
I'll try it, but I'll tell you,
I'll find one that you like.
if it's not good, I'm pouring it over your head.
All right. We have a little bit of news to cover. Our brand new record, Killer Cabbage, is now on vinyl. It ships October 18th. And our good buddy Scotty at Bellyache Records is putting this one out again for us. And it's got 12 tracks. It actually has the same sequence as the cassette version of Killer Cabbage. So you go on over to BellyacheRecords.com and pick up your copy today on translucent green cabbage vinyl.
I mean, come on.
I know.
And we should all.
If the movie is called Killer Cabbage, we're going to do some green vinyl. Come on, man.
It's a rule.
Yeah.
We didn't make it. We just have to follow it.
Yeah.
And another cool thing is our buddy Slasher Dave did the variant cover for the vinyl. So the CD, digital, and cassette has Suspiria's art, and Slasher Dave did the vinyl album cover.
It's vinyl exclusive.
That's right.
Album cover.
That's right.
And
It's
is
an exclusive, Steve.
exclusive. It is so great. It's an awesome. It's one of my favorite covers that Dave has done.
Yes. Yeah.
It's one of my It's one of my 4 favorite color covers that he's done.
Wait a minute. That's great.
You want to know what I like about Dave's exclusive artwork for Killer Cabbage?
What's
What
that?
is it?
It expanded the universe
Yeah, it did.
of Killer Cabbage.
Yeah.
Right.
So I enjoy that aspect of it. It's
Absolutely.
like a whole other area of that universe with some shit happening, some shit going on with some cabbage, and
Totally true. Yeah.
Dave tapped into that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there's some familiar faces in that artwork.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like it.
I
I
like
like
it.
it a lot.
Me too.
Yes. I love all the variety, and it makes for just more T-shirts or more posters and just cool stuff. Absolutely. And plus, translucent green cabbage vinyl. Come on.
Come on, man.
That's right. I think Scott even has a couple of test pressings left up for sale.
Yeah, I think some people have already bought those.
Oh, is it sold out? Okay.
Well, I don't know about that, but I know some of the test pressings have been sold.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I saw one guy post that he bought the test press or something.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you would get the whole entire package, normal, the jacket, the insert, and all that kind of stuff. But instead of the translucent green vinyl, it would be black vinyl with just a white label, white plain label. But it's the test pressing that we got from the plant. So very fun. All right, guys, you want to talk about some of our fun adventures with the Cybertronic Spree?
Yes.
Man, that was a blast. I'm telling you what.
Of course I do.
You know how the van that we got was absolutely killer. It's the little things because, you got to be traveling hours at a time to far off lands to play shows. You want to do it in comfort, and that van was comfortable.
It was top notch.
It certainly was.
Yes, indeed.
And we
shout out to DJ.
We put some miles on that thing. We put some miles on it, and that's what you got to do when you're on the road. You got to drive.
Yep.
You got to get out there on the road and drive.
That's right.
And we were blasting those speakers and listening to a huge variety of music.
Yeah, we played all kinds of stuff, man. Seriously.
Yeah.
New,
it was great.
Old, heavy, not heavy.
Yeah. We did a little. Well, what are some of the highlights? We did some quicksand.
Yeah.
Did we do Boston? Or am I thinking? Did we?
You played a lot of classic rock, like right off the bat. I was like,
that's a true
this
statement.
is a really strange way to start this road trip. I thought we were going to come in with the heavy hitters, and Aaron is like committed to like Joan Jett. I love rock and roll. I forget what he was playing, but it was like that classic Robs. I wasn't arguing, but
did you play Barracuda?
I don't think I played.
Probably.
No, Cybertronic.
There was a lot of classic rock right up front.
Yeah. In Cincinnati, you know what we found? We found this great bar.
Well, that sounds fine to me.
It was the Overlook, and it was all decorated like The Shining. So there were like
it was a theme,
like artwork and stuff that say in the apartment or in the hotel room that Torrance and his wife and kid were in. There were like pieces of art on the wall. Those things were in the bar, and they had like the carpet pattern. It was super cool. Like the whole place gave you a vibe of that movie.
Cool.
The one thing I really liked was the men in the women's bathroom.
Oh yeah,
it had the cutouts from when he's like busting through the door. So like the women's showed Wendy on the other side of the door holding the knife up like scared to death, and then on the men's side it had him like peeking through the door. So it was really well done.
That was great.
Bunch of axes on the wall. I remember that. Yeah, it was a cool place.
We got to hang out with Sam in Cincinnati. That was great.
Yes, indeed.
And his wife Karen, and Nashville was cool because, well, I wanted to go to the Gibson factory, but we did not have time for it. There was no way. But I did play my Gibson SG on stage, and like a true dork, I pointed out to the crowd that I'm playing my Gibson here in Nashville, and they were like, "All right, cool, yeah,
whatever, dude."
It didn't get the pop I was hoping for.
Hey, it did with me. I thought that was cool. Yeah.
The crowds were great in both cities. It was awesome. A lot of energy. People were happy to be there. They were giving a really good chance to an opening band like us, so that was cool. We appreciated that.
Yeah, and both venues were top notch. First, the sound, which is one of the most important parts to me, was impeccable at both venues. The East Side Bowl and the Masquerade. The people running it, top notch. The food was great.
Yeah,
for sure.
I do have to say that we'd be doing everybody a disservice if we didn't talk about what happened at the Masquerade in Atlanta.
I mean, you talk about the cosmic odds lining up, and I know.
So and I love to tell this story because we're from Detroit. we took these couple of shows with the Cybertronic Spree when they were offered, and we were like, yeah, let's go out on the road and do this. We didn't think about anybody we know or like. So anyhow, we get in the van, we go out and play Nashville. The next day we show up in Atlanta at this awesome venue called the Masquerade. So we're loading in, and it's a really long hallway, and I think you have to basically walk in a circle to get where the actual venue doors are. So you go down one long hall, then down another long hall. So I'm coming up the third long hall, up to where the doors to the venue are, and I see this guy sitting on a folding chair with his head down, kind of looking at his phone, and I'm like, boy, that sure looks like the singer from Negative Approach from Detroit. Sure, that sure looks like him.
And I
like,
walked by him too. Like a second before, I was like, that really looks like John Brannon, but it can't be John Brannon. But
right, yeah, and I'm like, it's either him or it's a guy from Atlanta that looks a lot like him. So, you know, I don't want to like show my hand. So I just like kind of walk by. I was like, hey, are you from Detroit? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, were you in Negative Approach? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, are you playing here like tonight? And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, all right, well, where is John Lell? Because our friend John played in a band called Die Grinder, and we've known him our whole lives. I mean, all through the 90s, you know, both Forge and World of Hurt, and like pretty much every band we've ever been aligned with, played with Die Grinder. And so we've known John all these years. So John Brannon tells me, yeah, just go through there. He's setting up the merch. So I like go into their venue. They were playing a bigger space, like right next door to us. So I go through there and I see John, and he's like doing shit with the merch. I walk up behind him and tap him on the shoulder, and he turns around and he's like, what the fuck are you doing here? So I like to think of it this way. Out of all the venues in the United States, and you know, all the days of the year that you could play a show, like what are the odds of us in all the cities? like what are the odds of us showing up to the same exact venue in the same town on the same night as people we know? So it was just it was like the cherry on top for like the two awesome shows with the Cybertronic Spree. Like just having like local heroes playing right next door. So I hung out at the Negative Approach show and helped John get his drums up, and like you know, got to hang out like a cool guy backstage. You know, one of those guys on the side of the stage that you see in the YouTube video. You know, and you're like, man, it'd be cool to stand on stage.
Right.
So
well,
I got to be.
This time it was you.
Yep.
Yeah, I got to be cool for a night, and it was just cool because you know, Negative Approach is very well known in the hardcore scene. And they're heroes really from Detroit as far as Detroit hardcore goes. So anyways, that's my story. It was an amazing coincidence. And then we ran into him again at Buc-ee's.
Right.
In Calhoun, Georgia.
We were already miles and miles from Atlanta.
Right.
Back north towards Cincinnati. And we happened to run into them again at Buc-ee's. It's crazy.
Yeah. So
and there's that's a whole story too. Not that I'm going to go into any detail, but Buc-ee's is amazing. Being from Michigan, we didn't know anything about Buc-ee's, but the robots from Cybertronic Spree were talking about Buc-ee's and how cool it is because, you know, on Cybertron, they don't have anything like Buc-ee's. So they were telling us about it and how we had to stop there. And we're like, yeah, okay, cool. We've been in a lot of stores and gas stations, but then they built it up more. They're like, no, you don't understand. You can't spend 10 minutes in Buc-ee's. You can't spend 15 minutes in Buc-ee's. You have to give yourself like an hour in Buc-ee's. And I think that's what we took.
Yeah, that's accurate.
They have shirts and everything you could wear and hats and everything. They have all kinds of like,
hot sauce,
coolers and stuff. They have, I got a hot sauce there.
Beef jerky.
Carolina Reaper hot sauce. I got the hottest beef jerky you could get. They had these sandwiches. They had
fresh brisket, right? Didn't they have fresh brisket? They're like making it all day long.
They were making it right in front of you.
That sandwich was impeccable.
Yeah, it was great. It was.
Aaron, do you know what I got from there besides the sandwich?
Some waffles or something.
Banana pudding.
Yeah, I knew it was something like sweet.
Right. It was so good.
Super sugary sweet. They have like, I don't know, 100 gas pumps there or something.
Yeah.
And
Cleanest bathrooms.
the cleanest, most beautiful, like sexiest bathrooms you could imagine.
Aaron took a shower there.
Yeah.
Aaron got right in the shower.
Aaron came out of there squeaky clean.
It's just amazing. Bucky's is great. That was fun. We narrowly avoided injury at a place called Spawn Divots in Atlanta, where I wanted to go, but Greg said it looks a little shady, like considering there's a police car actively right outside of it right now, with the lights on, and
it was like 2:10 in the morning.
2:10 in the morning. So we
2:00 in the morning, and it was a seafood place that was open at 2:00 in the morning. Like,
Greg,
that just doesn't sound right.
Greg talked me out of Spawn Divots. I reluctantly agreed. And then we got the worst McDonald's we've ever had in our lives instead.
That was terrible.
That was horrible. But we got to say thank you to Cybertronic Spree for bringing us out. We've played with them in the past a few years ago, and our bands go so well together. And obviously the people who come to see them respond well to us too. So those guys are great. Thanks for having us out.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to more shows in the future.
I'll make sure to put a Spotify link to their latest record, Ravage, in the show notes. You guys crank it up.
The day we got home, maybe the day after, I had to watch Transformers the movie again. I'm talking about the 1986 classic.
Vince DiCola, you mean?
Vince DiCola, yeah. Right. That movie.
See how our themes intertwine,
always
wrap back around and high five and all this kind of stuff. I'm telling you.
They always do. When that movie came out, it was my favorite movie for probably 3 years. Like, it was unbelievable. When I watch it now, I go, oh, wow. They just killed all the main characters that you know from the show, like mercilessly, and with the interest of putting out, new toys that they could sell. They're like, we're going to replace the entire cast with new figures. And it doesn't bother me, but I see it as more of a marketing thing now, but it's still a great movie. Like, but it shocked me so bad when I originally saw it.
Oh yeah.
And they killed like everybody in the first 15 minutes. It's just unbelievable.
It just made it so heavy.
Right.
And Leonard Nimoy does the voice of what's
Galvatron.
Of Galvatron. So you
don't forget Orson Welles as Unicron.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That might have been one of his last things.
It was his last thing.
Okay.
He was sick when he did it. And they had to go to his house to record him. And he was like breathing heavy and like coughing and stuff. And they're like, oh God, I hope this stuff is usable. And then they put it through like synthesizers and modulators and stuff. And I never knew that it wasn't supposed to sound like he was like all, I mean, it sounds right the way he's talking and the way he's like kind of his voice breaks up here and there, because he's just like a big, massive, weird planet, so it's perfect.
We didn't question it at all back then. So
he died, I think, even before the movie actually came out.
Oh, wow. Okay. I forgot about that because I'm sure I knew that at the time or around there. I just totally forgot.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. Well, I think that's all we got for this V3 cast. I guess we do have to say thank you so much to everybody who watches and listens to V3 cast. We just crossed 700 subscribers on YouTube. So we're extremely appreciative of that. So that being said, though, if you're watching this and enjoying what we do and have not subscribed, go ahead and help us out with that. It really makes these videos go to the people who should be watching them. Give it a like, share it, and stick around. We have plenty more episodes coming down the pipeline. Probably some interviews coming up and more favorite films and actors and stuff like that. And Voyager 3 news, of course. So until the next episode, keep on rocking and spin killer cabbage.